Let's go, girls. Come on.
From New York City to Los Angeles, Powered Up with Beck and Franklin is giving women of all ages permission to live the life they've always dreamed of. Why live in black and white when you can choose the brilliance of 3D and Technicolor? Each week, Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin and their high-powered guests will be here to cheer you on, to share their challenges, their successes, and what they've learned along the way. It's all about women supporting women. The stories and practical tips on sex, beauty, money, and so much more are designed to help you reconnect to the powerful woman you are. Fabulous knows no limits. Now it's time for you to expand your boundaries. Here are Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin.
Hey ladies, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and we've got a great show today, Linda. We're going to fight FATflammation.
What do you do if you already have it? What if it's already flammation?
Yeah, well, I'm looking down at my flammation right now, but I'm excited to make the warm puppy that sits on my lap go away.
Well, it's really funny because, I've been doing this renovation, and we're in our 6th week, and that's just about my patience tolerance, exhaustion level. So, and I find I've been eating more or not as good things because of what's going on in the I'll get back to my salads and my good stuff after, but right now I've been splurging more than I usually do.
Well, that does happen. I know, when I got divorced and when my mom was dying, I was like the human Hoover, like sucking up junk food anywhere I could turn. And, I would think it would make me feel better, but it really didn't. And, I paid the price, 40 pounds later after that. But one of the things I was really excited about with Dr. Lori Shemek is that not only does she have this cool book, and I got an advanced copy of it, so, thank you, HarperCollins, for sending one over to me, but she also has, me on these mindset audios. She has a, kind of like a mind your cravings. I don't know if it's a meditation. We'll have to ask her about that. But me, after Dr. Joseph Gallenberger and my brain balancing, fest, I'm still doing that, by the way.
Good for you. That's excellent. You have stay-to-itness.
I do have stay-to-itness. Well, it's more called like desperation-ness, because when I start to get really stressed and, I can identify myself starting to spin, like with anxiety. And then I look at my Fitbit and, I've got 25,000 steps on my Fitbit without working out, which means I'm running, from soccer to work, to school, to pick up that this was left and dropped off. And, I got to get to FedEx and I got to get here. And it's not a real, it's not a real workout. I'm taking those steps, but it's stressful and I start to spin, Linda. And it's like, I can tell when I'm spinning because like 10 o'clock at night, I'm in the tub and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to relax. And my mind is like tick, 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 tick. So I just plug in these headphones and it really does bring my anxiety level, my stress level down. I can focus, I can sleep. So I'm kind of excited about this mind your cravings.
But the most important thing is now you recognize when you're in that place. A lot of people are spinning 24/7. They don't even know they're spinning. So now that you're paying attention and you're conscious and you're mindful, you can tell the difference of when you're going on and everything is, kind of on a level and you're okay, to when you're spinning and everything kind of, spirals out of control.
That's true. And, in the past, I had, been given prescriptions for, I don't even remember what I took. I didn't take them for very long because they made me dopey and I couldn't function. You can't chase a toddler around the house, doped up. And, so that didn't work for me. And, honestly, sometimes a bag of chips would calm my nerves or, eating a baked potato, of course, with all the fixins, would calm me down. and, now I realize that, there are alternatives out there that can get you calmed down before you get to that, unlimited, like what I call my Hoover moments,
Yeah, absolutely. No, well, during this 6 weeks have been stressful because when people are walking in and out of your house all day and there's noise and there's dust and, when all of your furniture is piled up in your living room and your computer office is set up in the dining room and everything is like crazy. I take Lucy out for a walk to the park, and April's my favorite month, and everything is in blossom, and it's so beautiful. So we just, we walk around the park, and then I sit on the bench with her and I talk to her. And then when I get home, I feel better. So that's very, very good. It's almost like a meditation, walking Lucy.
Sure. Well, that's, it calms you down. It relaxes you. And, I had house guests for 10 days over spring break, and I love them dearly. Don't get me wrong. But I realized, how much this show has impacted my life with respect to health and nutrition and how it affected my family, because Zachary, my 8-year-old, he turned into the food Nazi, Linda. I wish you could have seen him, all 40 pounds of him, on his pin-thin stick hips. He's like a little bag of bones. And when my house guest came back with her 2 children, and they had Captain Crunch, and they had, Fritos, and they had, these ding-dongs and banana pops and popsicles, and it was all this, it was just garbage. And, I didn't say anything because, I put my food Nazi on the shelf, for a while when I have guests. But Zachary was just like, he flips open the bag of Doritos, and he's like, look at this. He goes, look at all these ingredients. You can't even pronounce these things. And he's like, look at, and he went in the cabinet, and he's like, my mom lets us have these potato chips, but only as a snack because they only have oil, salt, and water. And he goes, what is this? Let me read this to you. He's like, monosodium glutamate, and he's going on and on about the artificial dyes and colorings. And I'm like, this little monkey's been sitting in my office listening to the show now for a couple of years, but he was right. And I thought about, all these things that we do, and this is what I want to talk to, Dr. Lori about, Dr. Lori Shemek, who's going to visit with us, for the rest of the show, about, these choices that we make, because they're automatic when you watch television, when you go to school and you see what your kids eat in their lunches or what the school feeds them. It's really hard, Linda. It's hard to know what to do. And then I look down at my waistband and I'm like, oh, this is not good.
No, but you got to be very proud of Zach, because holy cow. For a kid to come up like that, you must have been beaming.
Well, I was bright red at first because, he was literally, he was going through the grocery bag going, you can't eat this. He's like, these are popsicles. He's like, why can't you freeze juice? And, he's like, this Captain Crunch. He goes, look at these colors. He's like, these colors don't exist in nature. This isn't natural food. And he picks up, an apple, and he's like, this is red. He goes, this pinky, reddy, purpley thing doesn't exist. And he's like, what are you doing to yourself? And and he kept going, which was funny, but yeah, I was proud of him, but beat red because I was like, oh my God, the food Nazi has evil spawn.
No, but it's much better that way than the other way, right? Because when you see all of these kids that at a very young age are so obese and sick, because that's like the first entree into diabetes, and that's the big cry in the country now is that our children are obese and they're getting fatter and fatter and fatter. To have a kid like that, you say, yes, I must be doing something right.
Right. Well, and I got to tell you, this has nothing to do with the show at hand, really, but I went to my older son, he's 11's baseball game this weekend, and we were sitting there, and this is so awful, I can't even believe I'm saying it on the air, but I couldn't believe my eyes. These kids waddled up to home plate. They were the kids we were playing. This team was the fattest team I've ever seen, and this kid's gut, like a beer gut on an 11-year-old boy, was hanging in the strike zone, and the pitcher pitched. Well, the ball grazed his gut, and the guy called it, gave him a base, and he's like, my kid's pitcher whatever, the kid's pitcher on my kid's team, freaked out, and he comes over to his coach, and I could hear the whole thing, and he's like, this is not fair. His gut was in the strike zone. His gut was pushing into the strike zone because it was like pitching to a potato. And, you're supposed to get between knees and shoulders. And in all my years of playing sports, Linda, I never thought about a kid's gut impeding the strike zone in baseball.
No, I mean, and it's sad. And I bet you if you looked at the dad and mom, that they're probably, not watching what they're eating either, because they're feeding it to the kid, and they're eating it too.
They were all roly-polies, the coach, the kids.
That's what you see when you see families go out. If the mom and dad are overweight, then a good chance the kid is too. So, this is very good that you're, starting them off, because when they start off on that good path of eating right, then they're going to stick with it.
Yeah, well, and they get sick when they go to people's houses that eat foods, a lot of foods, high fat, high salt, high sugar. They get a stomach ache and they come home and go, oh, Mom, that frosting, that cake, those cookies, the chips, the dip, and they're not used to that. But I find myself that way too. But I'm excited because there's got to be a way, Linda, that, like, especially as we age, I noticed that when I got into my 40s, things weren't burning up as fast as they could be.
That's right. And when you hit menopause, then it gets even worse, because you get a buildup of fat around your belly, and no matter, you may not be eating any differently, and you may not be exercising any differently, or maybe more, but it's there. And so, that's the hormonal change in your body, and it does strange things.
It does. Well, we're about to go to commercial break, so our upcoming guest, her name is Dr. Lori Shemek. You can find her book at FATflammation, like inflammation, FATflammation.com, which I just love that word. Her book is called How to Fight FATflammation, and if you go to her website, you're going to see that she has a smoothie recipe video. She's got her Stop Your Sugar Addiction series. There's a digital copy you can get of Fire Up Your Fat Burn. There's a whole bunch of things on here. And Linda, this was like right up my alley, or what do they say, like totally in my wheelhouse. Her name is Dr. Lori Shemek, and we're going to talk about, as we age, and some of the things that we go through, Linda, because you talked about, we're exercising more or the same. I'm exercising twice as much as I did in my 30s. I'm eating half the food I did in my 30s, yet I'm maintaining this body weight, yet I'm a different shape. It's like Play-Doh. Things have shifted and slid and moved around, but I'm still the same being, and I'm not exponentially more or less weight. It's just shifted, and it's gooey, it's doughy, it's not nice and firm like it used to be.
Right.
Yeah, so we're going to put Dr. Lori Shemek on the hot seat, and she's going to fix this for us. When we come back from the break, Dr. Lori Shemek on how to fight FATflammation.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
Welcome to Geraldine Tegelov Live, the show that shares with you the secrets of redefining, reinventing, and rebuilding your life. Having pulled herself from the rubble of financial ruin and having gone on to create a highly successful career, Geraldine has become an expert in the art of transformation. She believes that it doesn't matter where you are right now, how overwhelmed you feel, or how impossible the task of turning your life around may seem. You can do it. Stay tuned as metaphysician, international best-selling author, and intuitive Geraldine Tegelov gives you the inner understanding and the outer practical how-to to create your amazing life. Gain a fresh perspective on how to redefine, reinvent, and rebuild your life. Join Geraldine Tegelov live every Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the TogiNet Radio Network.
Congratulations on being the proud owner of an adorable, soft, cuddly, sweet-smelling, smiling, cooing, hungry, tired, gassy, screaming little bundle of joy. So now what? Where's the owner's manual for this thing? Where are my instructions? right here. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet.com. Infant care specialist Blythe Lipman has worked with babies for over 20 years and works extensively with new parents, providing workshops, in-home visits, tips, and daily phone calls to ease those frazzled nerves. With Baby and Toddler Instructions, you can get the advice you need on how to survive and enjoy your baby's first year. For more information on Blythe and how she can help you, go to babyinstructions.com. From 32 ways to stop a baby from crying to 14 ways to get a baby to eat and so much more. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet.com.
We're back with Sandra, Beck, and Linda Franklin. Here's more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
Hey ladies, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and we're going to visit today with, ta-da, Dr. Lori Shemek, How to Fight FATflammation. This is just right up my alley, girls, and I've got an advanced copy of the book, and I got to tell you, it's interesting. It's an easy read. It doesn't, it's kind of thick, but it's easy to read. Like, you don't need, like Lori's got a Ph.D. You don't need any of these degrees to read and understand this book, which is one of the criticisms, Dr. Lori, that I've had over the years, where I don't even understand what the person is trying to tell me, and they don't put checklists or shopping lists or recipes. And I'm a really simple person. You tell me what to do. What is it, Linda Franklin? You tell me to march, and I'll march.
It's the military in you.
It is. Well, Dr. Lori, I'm so glad that you're with us today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself so our audience knows who they're listening to?
Well, thank you for having me. It's really great to be here with both of you. What I do is I try to help people lose weight, and they end up losing weight, feeling better, and feeling good about themselves, as you were alluding to earlier. You really do want to feel good about yourself. And so that's my primary goal. And I've been, this book has been a labor of love for me. And so now it's out there, and I hope that it helps many people out there. So
now, typically, you're the people that you help. Are they like me or Linda, where we're like premenopausal, postmenopausal,
right.
We might have a couple kids, we're not, skinny 20-somethings that, can burn off a donut in an afternoon.
No, my target market is usually around between, I'd say, 30 to 55. And so I understand completely about the stages in life that we all pass through in terms of our changes in the body and everything. I'm 57 years old, and so I've been through it all, so I understand. And but the good news is that even if you've been through all of it, you can still either get back to a really wonderful place, how you feel good about yourself once again, or just continue to stay looking great.
So what are the things that happens when, we start on one of these, like, eating plan, lifestyle, we don't say the word diet, is it gets overwhelming. And your book kind of boiled down to, a few simple steps and changes. I know I'm implementing them. I'm in the process of implementing them right now. Can you talk a little bit about, some just general rules of thumb that can make a big difference in your FATflammation?
Well, yes, you need to start out with what not to do or what to change to. So it's kind of like, you have to understand what it is, first of all. Would you like me to tell you what FATflammation is first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So what FATflammation is, essentially, there's 3 types of inflammation in the body. And the first type is acute inflammation, which we're all acutely aware of because it hurts. It's swelling and bruising, etc. And it's a necessary part of our healing. It's actually very important to us. Now, silent inflammation is just by its name a problem, okay? And, hold on, excuse me. I have a dog here. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. I would just, if you give us your dog's name, we'll give him show credit.
Okay. Well, if you heard noise in the background, that's the show credit going to my dog. Back to what we were talking about. Okay, so acute inflammation is acute, and it's painful. It hurts. It's swollen, warm to the touch. We need it. It's a necessary part of our immune system. Okay. Now, silent inflammation is there. It's lurking there 24/7. It emits a low level of inflammatory molecules, okay? But with acute inflammation, you get a whole bunch of them out there. Now, the difference is that with acute inflammation, the wound heals and the inflammatory molecules stop. With silent inflammation, they keep going and going and going 24/7, and typically unbeknownst to the person. 75% of our population is walking around with silent inflammation and they don't even know it. And so the third type of inflammation is what I termed fatflammation. It's a silent inflammation of the fat cells, and it too emits a low level of inflammatory molecules. And when this happens, you can actually think of your fat cells as like little factories spewing out inflammatory molecules, okay? And when this happens, a metabolic effect occurs, which slows down the metabolism. You put on weight, and you churn out more because you have more fat of these inflammatory molecules, and it becomes a vicious cycle. And so we used to think that fat was just this jiggly mass that just sat there, and not so pretty. But we now know that our fat is the number one largest endocrine organ in the body, and it's sending out messages. So it's a very active organ, and which is good to know, because that means that, well, we can have it start sending out some better messages, right, to the brain.
So fat's not just a collection of cells anymore. It's like an organ, like a liver or a kidney or that's something that I didn't know. I knew fat caused certain things to happen in your body, but can we just talk for a minute about fat? Like, how does it function? Does it function like like our pump out hormones, or
right.
What? I'm asking. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So fat, it does. It has one role is it sends out messages via hormones, like leptin, for example, that tells you tells your brain you've had enough food. It is a collection of cells. It's tissue, really, adipose tissue, and its function, really, its function is to insulate you. Now, these are healthy fat cells, okay? To insulate you, to provide energy for you, and to keep you warm when you need it. And so a healthy fat cell is one thereby where you eat something, you take the fat into the cell, and it is stored there for energy when needed or for other purposes. Then it, in a healthy way, releases the fat. In an unhealthy fat cell, it just stays there, and it keeps staying there, and it gets bloated, and it becomes toxic and starts leaking these inflammatory molecules. And it's not just fat that's in there. There's things like arachidonic acid and glucose, all these things that are making the fat cell act as if it's infected.
Now, is this the difference? I'm sorry, Linda, but I just want to clarify really quick. Is this the difference between like white fat, brown fat? Are those the different fats you're talking about, or is this a whole new animal?
No, this is white fat I'm talking about right now.
Okay.
White fat cells, right. Subcutaneous is the official word.
Okay. Go ahead, Linda.
What is the worst enemy to this inflammation? Is it? I mean, we used to think that fat was the enemy. Grease and fat and all of these different things that we're eating. But I would say within the last 5-10 years, now they're talking that it's really sugar that is our biggest enemy.
Yeah, there are quite a few things. It's not just one, but if I had to pick one, it would be sugar. And sugar is the number one inflammatory food, if you can call it that. Because it's not natural, for one, and also we're addicted as a nation to sugar. You see the rise in obesity. Well, that's about how addicted we are to sugar. Okay, so when we take in sugar, and I hope I'm not boring you with this, with repeating what happens, but when you ingest sugar, your blood sugar rises super fast, and then it drops just as fast, okay? And eventually your cells become insensitive, desensitized, if you will, to insulin, which stores sugar in your cells. Yeah. There just isn't any more room to store it, so where does it go? It goes to the liver, and it gets stored in there. And that turns to fat, and now we have a congested fatty liver, which even children, we have children who are obese now, as you were mentioning, and overweight. And so children now have fatty livers. And when you have a fatty liver, you have a toxic liver, which means that you're going to store fat in your body, because it's not your liver is your number one fat burning organ.
Right, and you're not going to filter. The liver's a filter too, and you're not going to filter as effectively, which leads to all kinds of problems and diseases. Right.
Absolutely right. So now the diet in my book, the FATflammation-free diet, detoxes the body, detoxes the liver, and helps blood circulate through the liver, eliminates the fatty congestion going on, the toxins in the liver, so that you become not just lean again, but you also you create optimal health at the same time.
Can you have a skinny kid and a fatty liver? Because my little guy likes sugar, and he'll eat sugar on strawberries, and I try to, rein him in. But, his body is rail thin, and because he runs all the time, but he could have a fatty liver.
Yes, absolutely. If you have, for example, if you have belly fat and you're thin as an adult, not a child, you chances are that you have a fatty liver, and I can go more into that if you like.
Yeah, I'm going to take us to commercial break, and, we can talk a little bit. I was just curious because, you hear about, like, the skinny fat and things like that.
Right.
So we're visiting today with Dr. Lori Shemek. She wrote a great book called How to Fight FATflammation. I got an advanced copy from HarperCollins, and nothing was paid to promote this product other than the fact that I think it's a great book, so I think you should check it out. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about how to get rid of that little thing that sits around our waist, gets rid of our pants, gets in the way of our skirts and looking cute. When we more after the break.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
This is for all you girls about 42. Tossing pennies into the fountain of youth.
Familia, faith, identity, tradición. Latina life is never boring, but it can be muy dramática. So how do you coexist between the old school ways of la abuela and the new school life you're creating for yourself without losing your faith, familia, identity, or tradiciones? Welcome to Living Latina with Francesca Escoto, where culture curls and curves collide in one spicy cross-cultural conversation that will leave you begging for más. Francesca tackles all the important issues, from politics to family values, to religion to, you guessed it, relationships and men. As Chief Everything Officer at the Wow Factor, Francesca is passionate about showing women of all cultures, ages, and lifestyles how to rock what they've got with style, sass, and smarts. Be sure to join her every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time for Living Latina, only on the Woohoo Radio Network.
Information about book publishing is power. The power to change your authoring life and the power to change the lives of your readers. So join us for Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific. You'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now. As the book shepherd, Dr. Judith Briles is in. And each week, she will include publishing professionals that will reveal tips and secrets to the author's journey. If there is a book in you want to listen, learn, and yes, call in with your questions each week. For more on Judith and what she can do for you, check out her website, thebookshepherd.com. It's Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know, but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by Author You and The Book Shepherd, with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific.
We're back with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin. Here's some more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
This is for
Hey ladies, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin and we're visiting today with Dr. Lori Shemek. She wrote a book called How to Fight FATflammation. Sorry about that, How to Fight FATflammation. And for those of you that missed the first half of the show, you're going to want to check us out on iTunes under Powered Up Talk Radio. You can also go to our .com by the same name, powereduptalkradio.com. This and many other episodes that have to do with health, money, beauty, sex, love, relationships, you name it, is available at our host station, TogiNet. That's TOGINET.com. Now, we are visiting with Dr. Lori Shemek, who wrote this book about a 3-week program that will shrink the body's fat cells. We talked about the different type of fat cells. But, Lori, what happens to us as we age? You know, in the earlier part of the show, I talked about how, you know, I can do 25,000 steps on my Fitbit in the day and, you know, still not lose weight. And, you know, I don't know if it's a combination of stress, it's what I'm eating. That's why I'm going to really try your 3-week program, which I will tell girls is not hard. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need to purchase a lot of weird stuff. It's really kind of, you know, I looked at it going, really? This is good. I could do this.
That is so great. Yeah. It's really, you know, you have to plan and prepare, and I know I talked to you a bit about that before we went on, and really those are the key words: planning and preparing. If you do that, and I know you did, you'll be good to go. You really will, as long as you're consistent, as with any goal, really.
Well, tell us a little about the program. Is it a fasting program? Is it just changing your diet completely? And how come it gets you on the right track in 3 weeks? Is that because it's killing cravings and things like that?
Right. So the first week, what you're doing is you're eliminating all the toxins and the foods, if you can call them that, such as sugar, and you're eliminating refined grains, you're eliminating high fructose corn syrup and trans fats and all the processed junk food, right? You're going to a super clean diet, if you will, that's meant and designed to target fat cells. The foods in the book and the recipes actually target fat cells to help reverse and eliminate that inflammation within. And once that happens, once you start detoxing from the sugar, and it takes about 3 days for that to happen, for example, you begin to feel different. You begin to start losing weight. You begin to have more energy, and things start changing in the body, better skin. I have so many testimonials of people just in the first week have felt markedly better. So the second week then, so you're taking out grains as well in the first week. And so in the second week, you start adding back grains like wheat, for example. And, you know, slowly but surely you'll find out if you have a food sensitivity. And if you do, you'll know not to put that back in your diet by the third week. And food sensitivities can be problematic in weight loss because it is an immune response. And when that happens, weight gain can occur for people. So it's very common that people are trying everything. And they're just not losing weight. It can be many reasons, but typically it's because they have a food sensitivity or they have a fatty, congested liver. And I get a lot of people that come up to me and they say, Dr. Lori, I'm doing everything. I'm working out for hours a day, and I'm doing everything right. I find out, well, they're doing things that they really don't know aren't right, and they do have a fatty liver. So, for example, they're by the end of the third week. And we all have 3 weeks, right? You're free of sugar, you're free of refined junk, and your body is in an optimal state. And you have to be motivated to do it because there are foods that you're going to not you're not going to be eating anymore. So if you're used to eating junk food, talk about very early on how you have to clean your environment up. So you have to kick sugar, you have to go through and kick sugar to the curb, kick all the junk to the curb from your pantry, from your desk, at the kitchen, in the office. Everywhere you have food, even in the car. Some people have food in the car. And replace it with the lists of food, the FATflammation-free foods that I have in the book.
When you do this and you start to feel better and you're eating much more intelligently, is there such a thing for you guys as a splurge day, or I'm out to eat and I just want that today?
No, not in the 3-week plan, and I talk about living FATflammation-free for life, and I do talk about how it's important to treat yourself and to have fun in life. That's what we're here for. But you don't want to make a habit of, eating sugar every day. You really don't, because when you put these things into your body, like even artificial sweeteners, a lot of people are addicted to artificial sweeteners, and I can go into that if you want. But that is really creating low-level inflammation in the body. And low-level inflammation in the body is a core cause of inflammation, of illness, disease, faster aging, and weight gain, as you know. So in order to live optimally with optimal health, you want to not focus on foods constantly like that. You really don't. So I go with a 90-10 rule. 90% you're eating really great and choosing great things for your body. And then 10%, you have what you like. So, and if you're doing it 9, that's a success rule right there.
So, with this fatty or congested liver that you talked about, like I understand it now. I'm, starting your program. I haven't started like the full 3-week thing. I was just kind of like doing a prep week this week and seeing how it, like testing it out. Right. But one of the things that, I really enjoyed this morning is, because I live in Southern California, lemons are a dime a dozen, and I did my, I cut my lemon in half and I juiced it and, used an old fashioned hand, like where you just twist it around like, people did a long time ago. Yeah. And then I just, poured water in it because I wanted all the pulp, once I picked the seeds out. And I drank my cup of water. How long does it take for that stuff to start to flush out your liver? Like, will I see, and I'm just curious that, does it take 3 weeks to start cleaning your liver? When the lemon juice goes in, does it, start knocking it down quickly? Do you have to build it up? Like, how does that work?
It takes a couple days, but this is the thing. Everything that you do, if you think about it, is having an impact upon your body. And it's about consistency. So with that, there's a science of epigenetics. I won't go into it, of course, but, we have 80% control in the outcome of our health, right? So our cells respond right away to every bite we're eating and every sip that we take. And if that weren't the case, then we wouldn't have issues of inflammation going on within the body. So Yes, be very sure that with every sip of that lemon water you're taking, that it's having a cleansing effect upon the liver and other aspects. And that the lemon, the pectin in that lemon is really good in terms of balancing blood sugar and stopping cravings and hunger, by the way.
What if a person has an acid condition like acid reflux or something, and sometimes acidy things or citrus isn't good? Is there a substitute?
Actually, you can have it with lemon, but if it's a problem, actually, did you know lemons can be used to take away an acidic stomach?
No.
I heard vinegar. I didn't hear lemon or citrus.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but nonetheless, if it does bother you, I would say to not use it, because we don't want, obviously, anyone to be uncomfortable at all.
Right.
And and to understand that water is key in terms of this. If you notice, the diet has a lot of water in it, and that's going to help the liver as well decongest. Yeah. So
are there any vitamins that you suggest to take in conjunction with the three-week program?
I do. Yes, I have a supplement list. It's relatively long. For people who don't like supplements, I give them 2 other lists. I give them, if they can only take 1 supplement, then that would be fish oil. Because fish oil saturates the fat cells. It goes in there and reverses fat cell inflammation markedly well. Okay? And then I give them a list. If they don't want to take the full list, I give them a list of 5 supplements. And then the full list is 10 supplements. So, and on that list is the fiber you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah, well, that was the thing that I liked about it. You gave me options. Some of these, eating plans or cleanses or diets, whatever you want to call them, that I've done in the past have been very restrictive, where it's like, I get, you got to buy all these products and then you got to do all these things. And it's like yours was really simple because the diet was stuff that we could find in every grocery store. It wasn't, crazy. And it also didn't require a lot of work. As a single mom with 2 kids, I'm like, I don't have, 4 hours a day to create these gourmet meals. That was one of the issues I had with Jillian Michaels' stuff, is the prep time just took too long. And that was hard for me to stick to it. But when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about there's adjustments that you put right in your book for money, for time, and different issues. We're visiting with Dr. Lori Shemek. Her book is How to Fight FATflammation. You're going to want to check it out. We can talk more with Lori when we come back from the break.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
Information about book publishing is power. The power to change your authoring life. And the power to change the lives of your readers. So join us for Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific. You'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now. As the book shepherd, Dr. Judith Briles is in. And each week, she will include publishing professionals that will reveal tips and secrets to the author's journey. If there is a book in you want to listen, learn, and yes, call in with your questions each week. For more on Judith and what she can do for you, check out her website, thebookshepherd.com. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know, but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by Author You and The Book Shepherd, with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific.
Shh. Listen, something is brewing. The beautiful business evolution is coming. The way we do business is about to change. For the better. Forever. This is real business at its very best. On Beautiful Business Radio, you will learn what it means to truly prosper, how to nourish yourself and your business, how to earn what you deserve and make a difference in the world. The tide is rising, the change is here. Discover a new way to live, love, and partner with yourself and your business on Philippa Rowlands Presents Beautiful Business Radio, where you matter and your business thrives, every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, only here on the Woohoo Radio Network.
We're back with Sandra, Beck, and Linda Franklin. Here's more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
Hey ladies, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and we are visiting with Dr. Lori Shemek, and she wrote a great book called How to Fight FATflammation, a revolutionary 3-week program to shrink the body's fat cells. It's available on Amazon. You can get it there for about $20, and they have a Kindle edition, which is near and dear to my heart, and it's not a bad diet. It's not tough. It doesn't take a lot of work, and it certainly, you can buy the supplements that she recommends, but they're not, again, they're not a fortune. And there's stuff that, we know we should be taking anyway, between vitamin D, vitamin C, probiotics. I mean, some of us might already be taking these things, because supplements are a part of the FATflammation diet.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, and
I have a silly, maybe it isn't a silly question, but since all three of us are dog owners and dog lovers, and you're so into this, do you have special diets that you give your golden doodle?
No, but that's a good question. I've never been asked that before. Actually, no. I give her, she's 9 years old, so I give her a diet for older dogs. And I give her supplements as well. But I always make sure she has fresh meat. Whatever we're eating, she gets a little bit of in terms of meat, protein. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, my dog doesn't do well on protein. She maybe fish, but not meat, not chicken. If I give her too much of any of that, then her stomach gets upset. So she must have some sort of a deficiency there. So I give her a special dog food, but and I put rice in it, and you're going to kill me when I tell you what else I put in it. I put in a little potato, and she likes it, and it seems to agree with her. And some tuna, and if we're having salmon, I'll give her some salmon, but not meat or chicken. I guess the potatoes aren't the best thing in the world, but I want her to eat. She's a finicky eater.
Yes, they're fine. Potatoes. Potatoes are a veggie, if you will, that a starch that is metabolized really quickly. And
good.
In animals, they follow the same principle as we do in terms of inflammation and such to a smaller degree. So, you're okay doing that. I've given my dog potatoes as well, and they love them. So, just like we do.
Okay, no, because they're part of the family, and if we're eating all of this good stuff and getting healthy, you certainly want to keep your dog healthy as well. Right.
Exactly.
I see some pretty fat doggies walking around New York City. Let me tell you, their bellies are dragging on the ground.
So, Lori, I have a question. As I prepare, to do my 3-week program, when you're done with this program, this kind of is like a eating program, for life. Like I look at, I could do this. I'm just going to give a sample to our listeners here that, because this is the one I've eaten it twice. It's Tuesday now, and I've had your week 1, day 1 breakfast twice because it was so good. The scrambled eggs with avocado, sun-dried tomatoes, and mushrooms, and that has been so good for me in the morning. It really sets my day off right. That's something, these recipes are things you can continue.
Quick, right. And the thing is, there's a recipe for every meal, and for 3 weeks, okay, and snacks too. So, but the thing is, I also talk about how you can actually look at your plate if you don't have access to a kitchen or you don't want to prepare. Always just make sure your plate is half veggies and about the size of your not the palm, but the whole, including the fingers, size of your hand, which to a lot of people sounds like a lot of protein, but that's what I want people to get, is a lot of protein. And then just a small handful, if you will, fistful of very healthy carb, okay? So the protein is important in this diet only because it triggers hormones that create satiation, that kick hunger and cravings to the curb for hours. And for example, the eggs, they've got the healthy fat in there, they have the protein in there, and the combination of the two are triggering hormones that keep you going for hours. And also, you've got the healthy fat as well from the avocado, and, red peppers and veggies all have phytonutrients and antioxidants that actually go into the fat cell, reverse the fat cell inflammation, and create a healthier cell so it begins to release the fat, the stored fat, and toxins. So it's really, it is easy. There are some recipes in there that I put in there for weekends, so if somebody wanted to, cook a little bit, make a bigger meal for their family, those are in there. But by and large, they're not too complex at all.
You have slow cooker recipes in that book? I didn't get the book, so I'm just, but I'm going to get it because I'm liking what I'm hearing.
No slow cooker recipes, but there are recipes that are, like I have a chili recipe in there.
I love chili.
Yeah, I do too, right? And it's healthy and it's good for you, and that's what I love about the diet as well. I don't like calling it a diet because it has such a negative connotation, because this is really an optimal way of eating, and and it's specifically created for weight loss, but it also maintains as well down the road. And so everything in the diet is pretty user-friendly, I would say.
Well, and there's one soup in here that I like, even though you call it lentil and turkey, and I didn't see any lentils in it. I don't know if I'm missing it, but like the one that I made it just had like a couple tablespoons of olive oil. It had the sliced turkey sausage, an onion, celery, garlic, low sodium chicken broth, then a can of black beans, diced tomatoes, a bay leaf, and I liked it. I didn't eat lentils, and I didn't see any lentils in there, but the black beans were fine for me. But it was easy.
That's good. That's great. Yeah. In fact, black beans are very nutritious. They're actually one of the best legumes, if you will, out there. Lentils are good, but black beans are even better.
Yeah. So if you had a dinner of black beans and quinoa, and some a salad, you're probably rocking it, right?
Right. And and just make sure you get some sort of protein in there, whether it's vegetarian based or non. Just make sure you have some sort of protein with every meal. That's one of the keys of the plan.
Talk to us about tofu, because that was like the big, tofu. We placed everything with tofu, and then tofu was saying it's not so good because you're getting too much soy in your system, especially for women. Can you sort of debunk the myths about tofu?
Right, tofu. We all went through a tofu phase because research showed, it was so good for you because people in Asia had less breast cancer and et cetera, et cetera. And tofu is a processed food, of course, but aside from that, it has something called phytic acid in it, and phytic acid can shut down your thyroid, and your thyroid is a big player in your weight loss. So I have a lot of people that, again, here we go with another reason why I've done everything, Dr. Lori, and I can't lose weight, turns out to be, it could be a thyroid issue as well. And but then if you do have that, typically you have the other issues that go along with it. So it can diminish the output of your thyroid, which is very important. And it also is high in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 fats we in this nation are abundant with this essential fat. Okay, we've all heard about omega-3s, right? Omega-3 and omega-6 are essential fats. We can only get them from our diet. The problem is that we're weighted in omega-6, and so we get these omega-6 from almost every source we look at, including soy. People, in Asia, they don't guzzle down buckets of or gallons of soy milk. They have, smaller portions that enhance their meals. And so soy oil is high in omega-6. We have oils like corn oil, vegetable oil, canola oil. All of those are super high in omega-6. We need omega-3 to bring the balance, to create an equal balance between the two fats. Omega-3 stops the inflammatory effects of the omega-6 fats. When you have too much omega-6 fat going on, your body stores arachidonic acid in your fat cell, which bloats your fat cell with more fat and arachidonic acid, putting out more of those inflammatory molecules that slow the metabolism and more. It has other health effects. So you want to be careful of the types of meat you eat, okay? So beef that's grain-fed, corn is extraordinarily high in omega-6 fats. We are essentially what we're eating ate, if that makes sense. So whatever the cow is eating, we're ingesting it as well. So it's ingesting a lot of omega-6 fats, and we get that. So what you want to opt for instead are grass-fed products like grass-fed butter, meats, eggs, things of that nature.
Well, Dr. Lori, I want to thank you for being our guest today. We have visited today with Dr. Lori Shemek of the FATflammation Diet. You want to check it out. It's available at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, wherever books are sold. It's produced by HarperCollins, so we know that it's got some legs underneath it. Dr. Lori, thank you so much for visiting with us today, answering our questions.
Thank you, Sandra and Linda, very much. Very much. It's a pleasure.
I will think of you every morning when I drink my half a squeezed lemon.
And know I'm there for you if you have any questions, okay?
I will. I already found you on Facebook. I'm going to hunt you down like a dog because that's what I do.
She'll do it too. Watch out.
Yeah. I'll be like, Dr. Lori, I have another question.
I love it.
All right, girls.
Thank
you so much. Thanks, Linda Franklin in New York City. This is Sandra Beck in Los Angeles signing off for this week.
We're so glad you joined us for Powered Up with Beck and Franklin. Sandra Beck, Los Angeles-based single mother and technology company owner, knows what it's like to be fit, funny, and fantastic in your 40s. Linda Franklin, a New Yorker with a successful marriage and promise